Honestly, whatever you want to pay me would be totally fine. I am an expert at Adobe. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Orange to me feels eccentric, lackadaisical. Whoever is running the department now is doing a terrible job. My boss was a complete nincompoop. Your company values of mastery, precision, and growth. That's my alma mater. I'll do anything to get this position. No matter your personality type, interviewing for a job is stressful. But do not fear. I'm Abby, and I'm here to help you discover the do's and don'ts of interviewing as your Enneagram type. Let's dive into interviewing as an Enneagram Type 1, the Perfectionist. I left Smithson & Sons because my boss was a complete nincompoop. You thought Michael Scott was an unfit manager? Well, my boss hadn't done taxes in 8 years. And we were a tax firm. I left Smithson & Sons because my role just wasn't a great fit for my career goals anymore. I'm really looking forward to having opportunities for growth in the finance sector. Don't make negative comments about your previous employers, even if they were the worst. Type 1s can get hyper fixated on things that aren't perfect, things that need to change, so it can really bother them if their previous employers weren't up to their personal standards. However, it will serve you better in a job interview to be diplomatic about your previous employers. If you can't say something positive about your time in that position, talk about the skills that you gained while you were in that position. Now let's talk about the do's and don'ts of interviewing as an Enneagram Type 2, the helper. I saw on your LinkedIn that you went to the University of California, Irvine. That's my alma mater. What was your dorm? Were you in Middle Earth? Tell me you were in Middle Earth. Oh my gosh, there's this alumni event coming up and we should totally go together. During my time at UCI, I learned about the benefits of collaboration. Oh, you went there too? They have amazing boba places over there. I miss that. Enneagram 2s are all about personal connection, but the thing you want to avoid as a 2 is getting way too personal in a job interview. The interviewer is not your new BFF, but I also don't want you to be too stiff and like polished, because we're human and it's okay to express genuine shared enthusiasm for an interest. Just don't go overboard. Time to discover the interview pitfalls for Enneagram Type 3, the competitive achiever. Am I familiar with Adobe? I am an expert at Adobe. It's my favorite program of all the programs. I mean, at my old job, they used to call me Adobe Abbey. What's my favorite creative suite? Well, that's like asking someone to pick their favorite child. That would be terrible. So all of them, I love all of them equally. A lot. I haven't used Adobe before, but I have edited with Final Cut Pro and I'm a quick study. Enneagram 3s want to be seen as desirable and successful. As an Enneagram 3, I can tell you there is nothing more nerve-wracking for a Type 3 than going into a situation where you need to prove your worth. See, the core weakness of a Type 3 is deceit, which means that when they're in their stress path, they absolutely need to be seen in a positive light by others, and they will do whatever it takes to do that. This need will overshadow authenticity and maybe even lead to you falsifying some answers about a question or exaggerating your previous experience. In an interview, it's important to be honest about the parts of your employment history that might not be an absolutely perfect fit for the position. However, you can use your charm to leverage the conversation back to your strengths and what you bring to the table. Let's dive into the do's and don'ts for Enneagram Type 4, the romantic. Self-expression in the workplace is very important to me. I like having my music playing at all times, loud enough so that everyone can hear what I'm listening to and then ask me what I'm listening to. Oh, do you like it? I change it with the seasons, just depending how I'm feeling. Orange to me feels eccentric, lackadaisical. And that's kind of been my mood this fall. I value work environments that celebrate self-expression because I truly believe teams work best when they're working creatively. For example, for my last employer, I led quarterly musical brainstorm sessions that had amazing results. Enneagram 4s long to be seen as unique and original. They hate the feeling that they are just one of many people clamoring for the same job. So 4s will feel a temptation to stand out from the crowd by any means necessary. And while it's really important for 4s to be authentic to who they are, you don't really want to be remembered just because you stood out. if you know what I mean. Now let's talk about the do's and don'ts of interviewing as an Enneagram Type 5, the Investigator. I want to work at Pete's because your mission is to help people fall in love with great coffee. And your company values of mastery, precision, and growth are also my personal values, which is why I want to work for you. I want to work at Pete's because I'm a coffee enthusiast. I've been a loyal customer over the years, and I've come to appreciate the mastery of the coffee craft and the sense of community. Enneagram 5s do not like facing situations unprepared, and that is a great trait to have for job interviews. A lot of people go into job interviews not prepared. I know 5s would be shocked at this, but they just kind of go in and they don't really know much about the company. I don't think any Enneagram 5 is going to have that problem. In fact, I think it could be quite the opposite. Over preparation can lead to you sounding robotic and rehearsed, and then if the interview veers off track, off of something that you prepared, you might freeze up because it wasn't in your notes, it wasn't in your practice runs, so you haven't really left any room for improvisation and actual free-flowing conversation. So come prepared, prepare your questions, but don't memorize them. You're not rehearsing a script. You know, you want to come off as authentic as possible. When it comes to figuring out your personality, you don't want to do this. I will do this totally on my own. I don't need help from anyone. I am a self-sufficient genius. I'm confused about an aspect of my personality. I know, I'll use a tool like the sponsor of today's video, Truity. They provide research-backed resources to discover my personality. I overdrafted my account because I spent all my money on Enneagram books and complex online tests. Wow, I got an incredibly accurate personality test for free. And for just $19, I can get high-level resources about my Enneagram type. Even better, my budget will be thrilled because Truity's giving us 20% off their Enneagram and personality tests using the link in my description. Time to discover the interview mistakes for Enneagram Type 6, the Loyalist. I'll do anything to get this position. I have been job hunting for weeks and have gotten 0 bites. I cannot overestimate how much I need this job. The job description aligns perfectly with my qualifications. In fact, in my previous position, I helped the entire customer service team systemize their contacts. When Enneagram 6s are facing instability with their employment, that can be incredibly unsettling. Their core desire is to have stability and support, so going into a job interview where you are lacking those things could create a sense of desperation. But no matter how much you want the job, try to avoid using desperate language. Instead of saying you'll do anything to get this job, use the parts of your experience and your education that make you a good fit for this position. Let's dive into the do's and don'ts for Enneagram Type 7, the Enthusiast. I prefer a work environment that's collaborative and flexible. In fact, I'm a Girl Scout troop leader, and I am always telling the girls, stop, collaborate, and listen, because those Girl Scout cookie sales can be competitive. I mean, like, whoa. Speaking of which, do you want to buy some Thin Mints? I also have peanut butter patties, and those are the most underrated cookie. I prefer a work environment that's collaborative and flexible. Enneagram 7s are multi-passionate people, so sometimes they can fall victim to veering off course in the interview because they have a lot of thought processes going on. When you ramble in a job interview, it makes it really difficult for you to clearly convey your expertise. It would be helpful for Type 7s to prepare what they want their answers to include beforehand. That way, you're better equipped to stay on task once you're in the interview room. Now let's talk about the do's and don'ts of interviewing as an Enneagram Type 8, the Challenger. I know you think you're looking for a content marketing intern, but here's why that would be a bad business move on your end. You need a social media specialist with exactly my qualifications to bring your department to the next level. I've done my research on your company, and whoever is running the department now is doing a terrible job. I could do so much better. Oh, that's you. Well, my statement still stands. As a social media specialist with over 7 years of experience, I'd be interested to see if there are any high-level positions that might open up in the future. I think that might be a better fit. If Enneagram 8s aren't careful, they can become interview steamrollers. In fact, in some situations, the interviewee becomes the interviewer, and it is an awkward situation. Now, don't get me wrong, interviewing is definitely a two-way street. You are also trying to see, is this job a good fit for me? Am I going to be happy here? However, you don't want to put the interviewer on the defensive, so try to limit the aggressive tactics. Use your best judgment to evaluate if this company and this position is a good fit for you while still putting your best foot forward. Last and not least, let's uncover the interview mistakes for Enneagram Type 9, the Peacemaker. What are my salary requirements? Oh, just, enough to pay the bills or the grocery, or honestly, whatever you want to pay me would be totally fine. Who needs money anyway? Based on my previous salary, my knowledge in the industry, and my understanding of the geographical location, I'd expect a salary range anywhere from 80K to 100K. It's uncomfortable discussing salaries, it just is. But for Type 9s who avoid conflict and uncomfortability at all costs, talking about money can be really taxing. Get it? Taxing. That's what you get when you subscribe to this channel. Money jokes. But in job interviews, it's important to be upfront and say, this is what I need. Don't sell yourself short. It's okay to negotiate for a higher salary. And Type 9s are incredible assets to a company. So I just want to encourage all the 9s out there who are doing interviews, don't sell yourself short. You deserve to be paid what you're worth. Thanks to Truity for sponsoring this video. If you want to watch more Enneagram videos, click here. If you want to watch what YouTube thinks you'll like, click here. Thanks to my patrons for supporting the channel, and I will see you in the next video.